joining today. To all our clients who have joined the webinar. We're fully booked out for today's session. So if you know anyone who has missed out and was keen to get involved, we're holding an encore on Thursday. We obviously hope that you find the information that we present today useful and assist you in meeting your JobKeeper record keeping requirements. Or simply makes your bookkeeping quicker and easier with Hubdoc. For those of you that don't know me, my name is Heath Nankivell and I'm one of the directors of Murray Nankivell here in our Murray Bridge office. We've been working with Xero for a long time. I was trying to think back today, roughly 2012 was when we started with our first Xero clients from memory. And we're proud to be Platinum Champion partners with Xero. Almost all of our team of accountants are personally Xero certified advisors, and we would like to think we can take care of any issues you have with using Xero, processing payroll or JobKeeper, and getting you started on Hubdoc. If you have any questions throughout tonight's session, please drop them into the Q&A section. If you can find that, should be down the bottom of the webinar panel. We'll also make available an FAQ on our website that you can review the answers to any of the questions. So don't stress if we don't get to them all today. We know that JobKeeper is a complicated beast and stressing many people out. But rest assured, we're here to help you get through and make sure you get the payments you're entitled to. Now I'd like to introduce Sarah Boyce from Xero, who'll be running today's session. Welcome, Sarah, and thanks.
Thank you very much, Heath. Hello, everyone. My name's Sarah from Xero. I've been working for Xero for around the last 4 to 5 years, including maternity leave. And I also, before that, I was an accountant in practice for 9 years. So hopefully today I'm going to be providing a wealth of knowledge for you, taking you through JobKeeper in Xero and also Hubdoc. So what we're going to cover quickly in the beginning is we'll do a quick payroll overview. Then we'll jump into Xero and we'll go through the setup of JobKeeper and some of the different scenarios that you may come across. Then we're going to be doing a little intro to Hubdoc, showing you how you can use Hubdoc. And then we'll go over some help and resources and have some question time at the end. As Heath mentioned, you are also welcome to ask questions during the session in the Q&A box down the bottom. Okay, so Xero Payroll. So what are some of the key features that our product has? So we are compliant with SuperStream with AutoSuper. We have automatic product updates. So anytime the product needs updating, that will just happen automatically for you. No uploading or downloading. We have TFN declarations that you can lodge directly to the ATO for any new employees. You can access Xero and Xero Payroll from any device. So whether that be your computer, your iPad, or your phone. We have inbuilt timesheets in Xero for your employees. So making sure your employees are entering their time on the go. We have amazing JobKeeper functionality that has just been released over the last month. We now have turnover calculators to help you calculate your turnover. You can enroll all of your employees from Xero. We also have around the sun Xero support. So really important that we do have support while we are using a product. So we have a support team all around the world that will help you out with any of your queries. And that means you can send your query at any time, as when we go to sleep here in Australia, our UK team are waking up. And they are all trained in cross legislation with payroll, which is amazing. We also have single touch payroll capabilities to be able to lodge all of your payroll information via SDP to the ATO. And Xero Payroll also allows you to collaborate with your advisor. So Murray Nankivell being your advisor, you are able to look at the same pay runs on the same screen to help you out with any questions. So without further ado, let's jump in. Coming over to Xero, I have landed in one of our amazing payroll pages. So the way we get here is by clicking on payroll, by coming to pay employees, and by clicking on the payroll support page. This will actually give us a really nice checklist of what we need to be doing right now to get ready for JobKeeper payments. So in here, I'm just going to run through a couple of these steps so that we are across some of the functionality we have in Xero Payroll. Now, we're not going to be going over Xero Payroll setup today, but if you do have any questions about setup, you are most welcome to ask at the end. So our first step here is our turnover calculator. So making sure that our business is eligible for the JobKeeper payments. So in the Xero product here, we actually have a lovely little calculator that will bring through our GST turnover. This GST turnover is based on our GST rates that we assign our chart of accounts. So these amounts should be correct, and it will actually come and show us what percentage of turnover we have here. We are also able to change between cash and accrual. So depending on which method you usually use to lodge your business activity statement. And we also can come over here and change the comparative period. So if you do need to compare to a different period other than March to March, you can come and choose that here. So really great tool for you to be able to use. Once we know that we're eligible, we can then come through and we need to enrol our business in the JobKeeper payment scheme. So this link will take us through to the ATO website, in which it will guide you on how you can go through to enrol the JobKeeper payment for your business. Coming up to step 3. So this isn't a very important step. So if we need to make sure that we are set up for single touch payroll. Single touch payroll allows details from our Xero pay runs to be lodged through to the ATO simultaneously. So if we haven't yet set up single touch payroll, this will be an important step to go through and set up. Once we come through over into payroll and single touch payroll, you will be presented with a button to set up. Once you go through the steps to set up single touch payroll, it will ask you to confirm your details for your business, including your Australian business number. Then what it will do is we'll click continue, and you will need to contact the ATO to let them know that you are wanting to connect your software to the ATO. You will need to provide them with your software ID number. So Xero will provide that for you down the bottom here. And then once you are complete, you can click done, and then you'll wait a couple of days until that is then set up for you to then start lodging through single touch payroll. If you do have any queries about single touch payroll or the setup, please feel free to contact your advisors, Murray Nankivell, and they will be able to help you through that. Okay, back to our checklist. So once we've done completed step 1, 2, and 3, we can now come through and enrol our employees for JobKeeper payments. Now, I know there will be some of you out there that may have already processed all of their pay runs without enrolling the employees. So I will go through that scenario after we have gone through this checklist for you. So coming down here, Xero is actually going to pull through all of your potentially eligible and unlikely to be eligible employees. Xero is reading from key information like their start date and their type of employment. So important to make sure you are following the ATO guidelines in which, as to which employees are eligible and which employees are not. Now, when we want to go through and enrol an employee, we simply come over and click on Start JobKeeper. Now, do be careful here, because once we do select a fortnight, once we do click Save, and once we do file a pay run, it is a little bit harder to get that undone if we have made a mistake. So please make sure you review that the correct fortnights have been chosen at this step. Very important that we have that minimum $1,500 paid to those employees during the ATO fortnight. We do have a lot of really good details over on our Xero Central page. So we have one over here. I think this is called Frequency of Your JobKeeper Payments. So it actually goes through all of the calendars for you and tells you which calendars you need to make those payments in. So this is a really helpful page, and we will make sure this does get sent out to you in our follow-up email. Cool. So once we come through and we want to start a JobKeeper fortnight, selecting our fortnight here and click Save for Reporting. Once we have started our JobKeeper, those details will now show up when we go through to process the pay run. So once we've enrolled our employees for our JobKeeper payments, we'll then come through and making sure that all of our pay items have been set up to process JobKeeper. So we do have a great Xero instructions page, but today I'll take you straight through to payroll settings so that you can follow that process. Coming through to payroll settings. Now there's a couple of things that I will mention here, is that making sure we have the correct calendars added in here, and also the correct holidays added. So depending on which state you are employing in, making sure that we have those holidays there and we're adding those holidays to our employee template. That will actually come into play if you do have an employees on stand down status, so where a stand down direction has been given. So important to make sure all your public holidays are coming through correctly. Over on our pay items, you will actually now see pay items that Xero has automatically added for you. So we can come over here and see that we have an allowance. So not ordinary earnings, we have an allowance that has been set up as a JobKeeper payment top-up, okay? So that's actually the type of allowance here. And you can see these ones are grayed out, as I actually have used these pay items previously. I can give the pay item a name or leave it as it is, and then making sure that this is set up as fixed amount and Xero. Making sure I have my correct expense account labelled here for my payroll journal. So Xero will do my payroll journals automatically for me, and making sure I have exempt from super and reportable at W1. Now, just to note here, as per ATO direction, they have said that there may be circumstances where you may wish to pay super. So in that case, you would create a new allowance pay item with super on that one there. So you can choose to add another one if you'd like to pay super on those amounts. But by default, it will be exempt from super. The other item that you need to make sure is set up, now this one you will have to jump in and create, is our stood down status. Now this is to signify the employees that have been given a stood down direction where their hours have been reduced. They may have been reduced or reduced to nil. As we know, the ATO says that we are to, if they're full-time or permanent part-time, we are to make sure that we accrue leave on any of those stood down hours, okay? So we need to make sure we have our stood down pay item set up, and that is set up as an ordinary earnings type, okay? JobKeeper top up, allowance, stood down, ordinary time earnings. In here, we need to make sure we've ticked accrue leave for this earnings rate and then save. Awesome. Now that we have our pay items set up, we can then come back to our checklist to complete. So we've enrolled our employees, we've updated our JobKeeper pay items. Now what we can go through and process our pay runs and file them through to the ATO via STP. Once we've then done that, we then on every month after, we then need to complete our monthly declaration to the ATO. Now that is done via the business portal. Your advisor or your tax agent, Mary Nankivell, are able to help you with that as well. So please get in contact with them if you are having any issues. So let's come through to pay employees. So in here, we can see I have a draft pay run already, and I have 2 employees. Coming into my first employee, for the fortnight, I can see that Harry has earned a total of $750. Now, because I need to meet that minimum of $1,500, I'm going to top up Harry's pay slip with $750. So that is a total of $1,500 gross for him for the fortnight, okay? Now, because he is earning under $1,500, there has been no stand down direction, as he actually normally earns under the $1,500, okay? So once I have had a look at that, I can then press save and next. Coming through to my second employee, I can see that Ronald has earned over $1,500. So here I can see I don't actually have to come and add any JobKeeper top up, as I've already met that minimum amount. Now this $1,800 may not be his full pay that he usually receives. In that case, I will need to come down and add his stand down hours, okay? So that's where his hours have reduced, but he's still getting paid over that $1,500, just to make sure that that annual leave and all of those entitlements are still going to be accruing. Okay, so if I do need to, I can go and add in my stand down rate. Great, so once I've saved that and I've reviewed, I can then come through and post my pay run. Before I post my pay run, I do want to show you that when we enroll our employees, we can see the fortnight that they started with JobKeeper, okay? So that will come through nicely into our pay slips. So if I go through now and post that pay run, I can then, if I have my STP set up, making sure I've reviewed, I can also come through and view a report if I'd like to run a report before I file, or I could come through and file that directly with the ATO. So I'm going to submit that one through to the ATO like so. So once you now do come through into your single touch payroll area, you will see your filing history in here. What you can also do is come and print reports from here as well. If you do need to as well, what you could do is come over to accounting and reports, coming all the way down to payroll. And in here, you'll have a lot of other payroll reports that you can also come in to view, particularly any of those ones where you would like to see the activity summary, for example. Cool. Now, what I'm going to do is I'm just going to talk about maybe some other scenarios that we may come across. So I know that this is a common one where we may have already posted our pay runs through to the ATO, and then we go in and then we go into pay employees and enrol the date. So we may enrol the date after we've already posted that pay run for the fortnight. So in those circumstances, so the key date here for the first two ATO fortnights is the 8th of May. So we have until the 8th of May to make sure we have met all of those criteria, make sure we've enrolled our employees, making sure that we have paid that minimum amount. So if we haven't done this step, but we've already paid them, that's okay. We can still go through and complete that. So what we do is we start the JobKeeper, so elect those JobKeeper fortnights. Then what we go through and do is come to Xero Payroll and create an unscheduled pay run. The unscheduled pay run will be designed to only send through to the ATO the information about those fortnights. Okay, so that's what we're going to do today. So making sure we're selecting the correct fortnight. So now we only need to do the unscheduled pay run if we're not going to be doing another pay run before the 8th of May. Any pay run done between now and the 8th of May will also send through those calendar dates through to the ATO. Okay, so we can come through here, include those employees. In this circumstance today, I've already paid my employees, so I'm going to make sure that that earnings line is nil. But what I am going to make sure is that the ATO gets this information about when they started JobKeeper. Okay, so what we're doing today is sending through that nil pay run through to the ATO, but making sure they get those details about the dates. Cool. So that is just a few examples with how to process JobKeeper in Xero Payroll. Our payroll team are making lots of other little updates coming up soon. You might have seen before, we actually will now have details on your monthly reporting. So Xero has just released a tool yesterday to give you information on your current GST turnover and your projected GST turnover based on a percentage. You are also able to change that projected turnover using the fields below. So just to give you some more information, I guess, so that you can copy these figures over through onto the ATO business portal to making sure you're lodging that monthly declaration through. So lots of tools here to help you process JobKeeper in Xero Payroll. We also have, if we just go back here, down the bottom of what we're working on. So we are working on adding more improvements as we go. And if you ever do have any suggestions, please contact Xero support and let us know. I'll just pause for a moment there to see if we have any questions on the JobKeeper. If not, we can move through and we'll go through Hubdoc. Cool. So some of the key takeaways from our payroll session is that we need to make sure that we have opted into single touch payroll. We need to make sure that our employees have been enrolled for JobKeeper. And for the first two ATO fortnights, we need to make sure we have that pay run lodged through SCP to the ATO before the 8th of May 2020. Okay, next up is Hubdoc. I'm going to be taking you through a quick demo of Xero and Hubdoc. So what is Hubdoc? Hubdoc collects our documents. It helps us manage our documents, and it also processes those documents using OCR technology and pushes those documents through straight to Xero with the original receipt or document attached. So this is our common flow of what happens when we're lodging a document through Hubdoc through to Xero. So the transaction will happen in the beginning, the document will be uploaded. We can also set up auto fetching for suppliers. So we have a whole list of suppliers where we can auto fetch things like our Telstra bills, our electricity accounts. If you have an Elders or a Landmark account, we can also pull through invoices from there. So lots of details on our Hubdoc website about those connections. Once we get those documents through Hubdoc, that data is then extracted, coded and posted to Xero. Then in Xero, our transaction is reconciled nicely against our bank. So no more mailing in documents or keeping receipts in a shoebox. There are a few ways to submit documents to Hubdoc, and we'll review those in depth during this session. So Hubdoc will automate the collection of bank statements and recurring bills, submit receipts and bills via email, and you can take photos of receipts with the Hubdoc mobile app. You can also scan documents into Hubdoc via a Scan Snap printer. Now, Hubdoc is accessible directly from Xero. So no need to remember another password. You can actually use single sign-on to also log on to your Hubdoc account. So that is all underneath Xero security as well. So we can access Hubdoc from within the Xero navigation using only your Xero credentials. So Hubdoc will also enable your business to save time collecting and manage documents. It will help you to automate data entry, improve advisor collaboration, so with yourself and Murray Nankivell. It will audit-proof a lot of those transactions for you as well, code them seamlessly into Xero and helping you maintain that compliance. So let's jump in and have a look at Hubdoc. So you can see there that I can log in directly using my Xero logon, or just to show you from within my Xero file, I can actually come through and go through to Hubdoc from the menu. So once I'm in Hubdoc, let's go through a couple of the basics so you can learn how we can set our Hubdoc up to start uploading documents. So as mentioned before, there's a couple of ways that we can actually come through and upload documents. So the first way and the easiest way is from our emails. So we have a special Hubdoc email address that we can actually save down as a contact within our emails. And then we can forward any of those emails with invoices or bills or any important information attached, forward that through to Hubdoc, and that will automatically appear in Hubdoc for Hubdoc to then process that document and code that and send that through to Xero. Now, when you first come into settings in Hubdoc, you will see an email address with lots of numbers and letters. You are able to edit this to make it a little bit simpler. So I could simply call this send to Hubdoc. Save. Now I can copy that email to my clipboard and save that as a contact in my emails for me to easily forward on documents to Hubdoc. Now, what I can also do is in Hubdoc is I can drag and drop or upload a document. So by clicking on upload a document, I can browse, selecting a document from my folder. That will upload almost automatically, and we'll now see an invoice start to generate here straight away into Hubdoc for my advisors to then see as well. Okay. What we can also do is drag and drop. So if I come over and have a document on my desktop, I can simply drag and drop that over to Hubdoc and add that document that way as well. Now we also have an Hubdoc app. Here you will see my Hubdoc app on my phone. So I will have access to all of the documents that are sitting here processing with the original invoice behind. So you can see here that I have my Telstra bill here. What I can also do is take a photo of my invoices that I may have or receipts straight away, and that will automatically upload to Hubdoc for me. Okay, so very simple to upload documents to Hubdoc. As mentioned before, we can also set up supplier accounts. So where we automatically bring through any of our invoices from any of our suppliers. So you can see here that we have a whole range of suppliers we can add. So if I come through here and, for example, search elders, and come through and enter my password, I can then go through and add that account. Okay, so really good idea when we first get set up with Hubdoc to come through and add any of our supplier accounts that we may find useful. Now we can also do a quick search in Hubdoc if we are looking for any amounts. So I can come up the top and start searching by numbers. So I can type in amount, or I can also type in supplier or contact names. So really great search functionality in Hubdoc. What I can also do is come through and create my own folders. Now Hubdoc will automatically sort all of your folders by the supplier names. If I would like to add my own folder, I can click add, enter, and I now have a custom folder already set up. So Hubdoc, really cool product, really advise everyone to jump in and have a go. If you are interested in setting up and connecting Hubdoc, it is free of charge for any Xero Business Edition users. Please contact Murray Nankivell and they will be able to assist you with setting up and connecting your Hubdoc account. So the key takeaways is register your interest in Hubdoc with the Murray Nankivell team. Save down that special Hubdoc email so that you can easily forward on documents, and download the Hubdoc app so that you are able to add receipts and invoices on the go. So just coming through now to the end of the session, we're going to go through just some of our resources. So just making sure that we know about our business continuity page. We have lots of webinars and resources in there. Xero support. So always remember, you're always welcome to contact Xero support if you do have any questions or queries. Of course, Murray Nankivell is always there as your advisor. Xero Central is where all of our Xero support pages sit. And in Xero Learning, which is also in Xero Central, we actually have some really cool videos if you would like to learn more. So that takes us to question time. Does anyone have any particular questions that they would like to ask?
Thanks, Sarah. We've had a couple come through. So the first one, I might get you to go back and just go into detail of how to do a top-up pay run when an employee doesn't normally earn the $1,500 in a fortnight.
Yep. Absolutely. So coming through into our pay run, the reason why my amounts filtered through is because my employees have entered their timesheets. Okay, so they've entered the timesheets and the timesheets have been approved, and they have set rates that have set them up with earlier underneath their pay template. So underneath your employees, it's important to make sure we have our pay template set up for any common payments that our employees may get. So you can see here on Harry, I've actually added stood down and JobKeeper payment top up to his template. I can add that in the pay run, but if I have it on the template, that will come up automatically for me to enter in. Okay, so when we come through to our pay run, if I come through into Harry, for example, so if I come through to Harry, for example, you can see that JobKeeper payment top up will come through automatically. If it's not sitting there, if you haven't added it onto the pay template, you simply click Add Earnings Line, click on the drop-down menu, and you'll have all of your allowances and earnings to choose from. That JobKeeper payment top-up is a pay item that we set up earlier that Xero will automatically have set up for you. And we can click OK and then enter in the fixed amount to bring us up to the 1,500, if that makes sense. Does that kind of answer your question, or?
Just coming back.
That's okay.
Yeah, so the question then is just keen to understand if we need to do it retrospectively, not on current forward top-ups. So if you have already done the pay runs and submitted those without the JobKeeper top-up, then you'll need to do an unscheduled pay run with just the JobKeeper top-up amount in there.
Correct.
Just quickly show that.
Yeah, correct. Okay, so let's say, for example, then we have posted this pay run. So I'll go through and we'll post the pay run. So let's say we've already completed the payroll, everyone's already been paid, but then we realise these employees are eligible. So we've now enrolled them, but what do we do next? How do we let the ATO know that they're enrolled? And also, how can we top them up if we've already paid them? So the answer to that is your unscheduled pay run. So coming through to pay runs, adding a pay run, selecting unscheduled, making sure we're selecting our correct calendar, and then selecting our unscheduled pay period. So making sure obviously that this is going to be before the 8th of May, and also making sure this payment date is going to be before the 8th of May. We can then go through and select the employees that we need to top up. So could just be Harry. And then Harry's earnings are going to be coming through, but what we're going to do today is we're just going to top up that amount to take him up to that 1,500. So we've already paid him for this fortnight, but we're going to lodge an unscheduled pay run to record that top up to take it through to that total 1,500. And I can check that in my payroll reports to see what Harry has been paid over that fortnight. Okay, hopefully that makes a little bit more sense.
Yeah, that's great. And we had a question come through about whether you have to report or enrol your employees now, even if you're not eligible yet. And I did answer that in the chat. The answer to that is no. You just need to enrol them in the relevant fortnight in the month that you become eligible. So if, let's say that's June, then the first fortnight in June, you then are eligible. But what you need to be careful of there is that because you can use projected turnover, if you expect the downturn to hit in June and hit significantly, if your April, May, June projected turnover is 30% down or close to it, you could actually be eligible from April. And that's a bit of a catch that some people don't realise. So it's worthwhile getting into the detail and projecting accurately now what the expected downturn is, because if the impact over that quarter is 30%, you're eligible now in April, and you've literally got until Friday to claim this.
Absolutely.
So yeah, if you need help with that, whoever asked that question, please contact your accountant and we can get that sorted for you now, because you could find out you might be eligible now, even if you haven't had a downturn or a 30% downturn yet.
Absolutely. For any of you that are using invoices, what you can actually do is come through and enter it in your expected payment dates so that you can actually come through and start to project that figure a little bit more accurately. So come through and enter in your expected payment dates of any invoices, if applicable. This ATO website here is quite a good one with key dates. So you'll see here that the 8th of May is just for those first 2 JobKeeper fortnights. So this is one to bookmark as well. We know JobKeeper is quite complicated. So do we have any other questions about the JobKeeper and payroll?
Yeah, we do. We just had a question there. You'll be just asking, does your business need to have a reduction in turnover for employees to be able to be eligible for JobKeeper? The answer is yes, but as I just said, because you can use projected income from April, May and June, you need to really look at those numbers. So I would suggest contacting your accountant at Nankivell and getting them to help you with that calculation if you haven't already, because obviously you want to get it as soon as you can. Don't wait until June and then think, oh, it's finally hit us for 30%, when in reality you could have been getting it already.
Absolutely, absolutely.
So then we've got another one. If your staff are paid weekly, do I process a weekly unscheduled or a fortnightly?
Yeah, so great question. So when you process an unscheduled pay run, it's only going to come through with the employees according to the fortnight you chose, according to the pay calendar you chose. So let me come and show you. When I'll just come through here and delete that one. When I come through here and add an unscheduled pay run, see how it asks me here which calendar I want to choose from? If I'm choosing my weekly payroll calendar, it's only going to come through with my employees that are assigned that weekly calendar. So if I have a bunch of employees on weekly, a few employees on fortnightly and one on monthly, that means I'd have to do 3 unscheduled pay runs, if that makes sense. So you can only do an unscheduled pay run on 1 payroll calendar at a time.
So I think that the critical point there is that you continue to process it. If you're on weekly payroll, you continue to process it on weekly payroll, knowing that 2 weeks will make up the eligible fortnight, and it goes on the payment date of the pay run. So the two pay runs that have a payment date in that JobKeeper fortnight make up that fortnight for JobKeeper purposes. It doesn't matter. Everyone's thinking, well, the dates don't match up. Everyone's going to have different payroll dates. That is the exact idea of this. The ATO don't expect everyone to go and change their dates of their payroll to match up exactly to the fortnights, because it would be an absolute administrative nightmare and would lead to a lot of errors. What's happening is that regardless of your pay calendar, everyone is getting 13 fortnights worth of JobKeeper. Some pay runs are going to be slightly earlier, some pay runs are going to be slightly later. Everyone gets 13 eligible fortnights. And if you're weekly, obviously it's just 2 weeks per fortnight, up to the maximum of 13 fortnights. I hope that answers that one, but it is a good question.
Yeah, great question. And remember to use your payroll reports to double check those earnings if they are, for example, weekly.
I think that's all the questions, but I did have one thing that has come up that we do need to touch on. I believe somebody did ask about eligible business participants. I'm just trying to find the question.
Oh yes, how can I claim for myself as a partner when I'm not on the payroll?
I've lost that question somehow, but that's all good. So basically, every business entity, whether you're a company, trust, partnership, or sole trader, is eligible to have one eligible business participant claim JobKeeper. Now, this is a very important point. So please make sure you note this down and contact us if you need help with this, because otherwise you could miss out on claiming for yourself. Obviously, when you're in one of those positions, you're not on payroll in Xero. So you can't enrol yourself through Xero as an eligible business participant. You have to do it through the ATO business portal or get your tax agent to do it for you. But it's extremely important that you don't miss that step, because you will not get paid the JobKeeper on your own payment, and you'll miss out if you don't do that. So please contact us if you're unsure about that, because it is important. So great question again. Has anyone else got any final questions? Otherwise, if you don't want to put them into the chat, please feel free to obviously contact your accountant. You will receive a follow-up email shortly after the webinar with some more information. And if there's any questions coming out of that, please contact us. Otherwise, thanks to Sarah for hosting today's webinar. She's done a fantastic job, and thanks to all our clients for attending. As I said, we're here to help as much as we can, so sing out if you need any questions. Hang on, we've just got one more question. Oh, it's a thank you. No, that's all right. That's what we're here for.
Thank you, everyone.